Amy, I mean, look, with 65% of the American people disapproving of the Tea Party, the House Republicans are now running away from the Tea Party. Are you afraid that the House Republicans will throw you under the bus and abandon their principles?
Well,
not you personally,
of course.
No,
I mean, the movement is absolutely concerned about what they're doing. It's more big government, big spending. And, you know, with this immigration thing, what's going to happen? They're doing it because they think they need votes. That's what, I mean, the speaker hasn't said why they're doing it. The speaker needs to come out and explain to us why they're all of a sudden doing this. Marco Rubio, God bless him, I praise him for being part of the process in the Senate. I mean, at least we had our guys in there while they were trying to craft the legislation, unlike Obamacare, where it was done behind closed doors and we had no input. But even after it passed through the Senate, Marco Rubio said, this is not the time to do this because we have a president that's not going to follow the law anyway. He can't be trusted. And Marco Rubio has said, at this point, he doesn't think that we need comprehensive immigration. He thinks that it needs to be done piecemeal. This is not the time. They're doing it for votes. And you know what? They're going to lose their base. And when they lose their base, they're not going to win.
But
because you can't win without your base.
Will you run third-party candidates against them in November?
I mean, we're not running any third-party candidates, but there are going to be primary challenges, I mean, leading up to November, not only in the Senate, but in the House.
Let me ask you something, because the president's whole point about the executive pen, I'm fascinated because, first of all, it's clearly...
Aren't you a strong believer in executive authority?
Well, it's clear. I was going to say that. No, I was going to say that in a very serious way. Yeah. Presidents, as long as they operate within the law,
absolutely,
have enormous authority. But here's what's fascinating. In his first 5 years as president, Ronald Reagan signed 53% more executive orders than Barack Obama. If you know, doesn't it sort of bother liberals that it took 5 years for Obama to figure out how much authority has been? Literally, if he has the authority to do it today, why didn't he have the authority to do it 5 years ago?
So I think there's a distinction between executive orders and executive action. I think the president is taking a wide variety of steps now. Obviously, in the first couple of years, he was passing legislation, and then there was a lot of focus on implementing legislation. But I think I'm glad that you and I can unite behind the president having strong executive action to answer the country's challenges.
No, he has the right to do it, but let me give you an illustration that's just sort of fun. So the president announces with great, fanfare, he is signing minimum wage for federal contracts, which will come into effect in 2015. Et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the total number of people, it's a nice symbol, but it's not, it doesn't change very much. The things EPA does that changes a lot. That's a different issue. But it just strikes me that he has no new authority today that he didn't have the day he was sworn in back in his first term. And so if he suddenly finds 23 really good things to do, if I were a liberal, I would be asking the question, so why didn't you do those?
You know what? I actually think the way the president is approaching it is the right way, which is to say, look, I want federal legislation. He called for a minimum wage increase last year. He wants Congress to act in this way. And unfortunately, he's tried very hard, and they're not acting. And I think he's taking the right approach, which is to say, just because the Congress is dysfunctional doesn't mean I'm ceding my authority as president. So I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to make change where I can. I'm going to improve the lives of the American people where I can. Obviously, it'd be better to pass legislation on a federal minimum wage or a minimum wage for everyone. But if they're not going to act, then he should.
Absolutely, I agree. He should act. Look, Amy, the House Republicans are meeting right now, right across the Bay Bridge,
right.
And you have an opportunity to tell John Boehner, just what you think of this new approach to immigration. What would you tell John Boehner?
Well, first of all, let me be clear that Tea Party Express specifically, we've not focused on immigration. It's not one of our issues because it's an issue that divides people. We want to focus on the economy alone and bring people together. And Obamacare, that's what galvanized the movement. But the movement is against this. Many, many people are against it. And I don't understand why on earth House leadership would go and all of a sudden kick conservatives and play right into the hands of Harry Reid and Barack Obama. Why, when every American is concerned about jobs and the economy and Obamacare right now, why are you going to pivot to this issue? Ted Cruz put out a great statement today.
I know you did.
I have to say,